Our political insiders, Charlie Giroux, Tony May, join us live in the studio to talk about the days of politics in the news, and we want to start with gun control.
Yeah, it's become the topic of conversation now since the horrible shootings at the school in Connecticut. Gentlemen, do you think this is at least going to spark some debate over this, or are politicians going to be too afraid to take a stance? Tony?
Oh, I think that people will want to take a stance. I think you're going to see every elected official want to do something but not knowing what the right thing is to do. I mean, I think that you would get a majority of the House and Senate to vote for something that people felt confident would work. The problem is, I don't know that anybody has any new ideas that really would work, that wouldn't be a true, huge affront to the Second Amendment. That's the problem.
Miraculously, Tony and I agree, and maybe it's because it's a situation so horrible and so tragic. I mean, we really haven't seen anything quite like this. We've seen mass shootings before, but never of little children, and as a father of little kids, it just tears you up. But the problem is, who has the quick fix? And the answer is nobody does. Gun control is not the solution. It's interesting that the NRA is going to have a press conference later this week where they're going to announce some things that they want to put on the table. I think there's another aspect to this beyond gun control that will be part of this discussion, and that's how we treat the mentally ill, because the common thread in so many of these horrific killings is mental illness, many of it known before the killer actually took action. So I think that's going to be a part of the discussion. The quote-unquote reforms of 40 years ago haven't worked out so well with respect to how we handle the truly mentally ill.
The president did mention that today as one of the issues. So you truly believe this time around we're going to get a discussion at the very least?
There will certainly be a discussion.
Absolutely a discussion. And I think that some things like limiting the size of magazines, the number of bullets that a gun can hold, are doable. I don't know that they actually will solve the problem, because there's lots of ingenious guys out there with little machine shops in their basement who can, you know, retool a magazine to
Well, and there's so many guns out there already.
Well, that's true with
so the
larger
good guys will be the ones who do it properly and go buy the gun properly and get a permit. Unfortunately, a lot of guns are sold.
But it's still a debate worth having, though.
And it's a debate that will be had, but Tony raises an issue that really is at the core of all this, and that is the Second Amendment to the Constitution. And beyond that, for state lawmakers, the Pennsylvania state constitution, which is even more clear in gun owners' rights than the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. It's very explicit.
Did it raise your eyebrows when you hear that the NRA releases a statement saying it's going to have a statement, that they're going to have a news conference on Friday? They're not saying what, but it says the NRA is prepared to offer meaningful contributions to help make sure this will never happen again. It's a powerful lobbying organization, Charlie. Isn't this the first time that they've come out after something like this?
It is, and I think they showed not only great restraint, but great respect for the victims and their families by not rushing in as others did and saying we're going to hold off for a little while before we come out and make a statement. I think the NRA has done everything right here.
Now, Tony, you bring up a good point. When you first started talking, you said people want to do something. So they're jumping up to the plate because they want something to be done, as everyone does. And it seems as gun control is the first and foremost thing that people jump to. But as Charlie, you also mentioned mental health care. So all of these things certainly will be revisited.
The case here in Harrisburg with the standoff. I mean, police are trained, much better trained today. They handle it extremely well, and yet you're firing 100 rounds of ammunition and no one is hurt. That's, well, one wound, I guess, but no bystanders were hurt. That was pretty amazing. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I think really scares the average citizen, is that other people can have guns and you can still get hurt. That's just as you're walking by a situation. You're trying to mind your own business and you still get hurt.